Welcome back to the After the License channel. This is the channel where we help real estate agents build their business and do other videos similar to this, informing realtors and future realtors about the business. If you're new here and you like this content, hit the thumbs up, consider hitting the subscribe button. We'd love to have you follow along on the journey. In this video, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of selling real estate at the young age of 18, 19, 20, or 21. Now, I'm not 18, 19, 20, or 21. In fact, I'm over 30, but it was 10 plus years ago that I decided to drop out of college and get my real estate license, so I'm all too familiar with the pros and cons of selling real estate at a young age. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to dive into what's great about it and what gives you an advantage, and what are the not so great things and the things you're gonna have to overcome if you decide to pursue real estate at a young age. Let's get started. Okay, so let's start off with the pros of selling real estate at a young age. First off, your income is unlimited. And what I mean by that is there really truly are no limits. There are a lot of real estate agents who make very little money, but there are other real estate agents who make much more than the average person. So as a real estate agent, because you're running your own business, your income really depends on how well you run that business, how many clients you have, how many homes you sell. So at a young age, this is a pro. There's a lot of careers that you can jump into that have very limited income and or very limited income potential. And with real estate, that's just not the case. There are no aptitude tests. There are no certain hurdles you have to jump through. Once you get your real estate license, you can really make as much as your business allows. And for me, that is a huge pro and one of the best perks of being in real estate, especially at a young age. It's not like other careers where you're limited in how much you can make and how much you can earn. But the flip side of that is important. There are a lot of real estate agents who don't make a ton of money right off the onset. So you need to understand that. And I did a whole video on things to think about before you get your real estate license. So after you're done watching this, go to the link in the description, check that video out, because I talk about all the pros and the cons of just getting your real estate license in general. But if you're young, having unlimited income potential can be huge. The second pro to having and getting your real estate license and ultimately selling real estate at a young age, or selling real estate at 18, 19, and 20, is you don't have a ton of expenses. People who get their real estate license later on in life are accustomed to a certain way of living. They might have kids, they might have a mortgage, they might have a car payment. When you're young and you've never made a huge income in the past, you don't have a ton of expenses. And this is a huge perk when you're starting out in real estate. Too often, new real estate agent starts, they have all these expenses and they end up having to get a second job, or they have to make real estate their side hustle. If you're new and you're young and you don't have a ton of expenses, you can focus solely on real estate, have one or two transactions that ultimately pays you out for several months of living, and you can continue to run your business that way. The third pro for getting your real estate license at 18 is you can ultimately start your own business for a relatively low overhead cost. Now, there are costs to getting your license. There are costs to hanging your license somewhere. Again, I've done other videos on that. But if you're interested in starting a business, and that's something that you've always thought about, real estate is a great path. You can start your business just by getting your real estate license, hanging it with a brokerage, and starting the act of actually trying to sell real estate. So in the overall grand scheme of things, for a couple $1,000s, you can start a business that you own, that you manage, that you control at the age of 18 or whatever your state's age limits are. And that is a huge pro. For me, when I was young, I've always thought about starting my own business. And part of the reason I jumped into real estate is because I could start a business right from the age of 18 without past experience, without prior business experience, without prior real estate sales experience, and I could jump into it with both feet. And that was a huge pro for me, and it might be a huge pro for you as well. The fourth pro for selling real estate at the age of 18, 19, 20, selling real estate at a young age, is that you have an edge on most of the competition. If you look at the average age of most realtors or most real estate agents, they tend to skew higher or older, right? Most real estate agents are 50 plus, 60 plus. So as a younger person, you have an edge because the real estate industry is changing and evolving. It's going towards more technology. It's going towards the way of social media. It's going towards the way of this new marketing techniques, YouTube videos. So as a new agent and being younger, you're gonna have an advantage understanding these things that a lot of older people don't quite understand. They don't want to understand social media. They don't want to understand marketing. They don't want to understand how to build internet systems that work for them and work for their business. You, as a new entrepreneur, as a young agent, someone who's tech savvy, someone who likes YouTube videos, you're gonna have an edge on the competition in that way. And as the business skews more technology focused, the more technology focused you are as a young person, you're going to have that advantage. So really big things if you are smart about it and you plan ahead and you take advantage of what you're good at. Okay, so now we've touched on the pros of getting your license at a young age, the pros of getting your real estate license at 18, 19, 20, 21. Let's talk about some of the cons because it's not all, roses and rainbows. There are some downsides and there are some struggles with starting any business, but when you start a business at a young age, there are some additional things you have to think about. The first thing you might struggle with as a new real estate agent or a young real estate agent at 18, 19, 20 is you don't have a database or a sphere of influence that you're gonna be able to rely on right away for some of those initial sales. When you get into real estate, one thing they tell you is come up with a list of people that know you, like you, and trust you, that you can pitch your services to. Well, when you're 18, you might have a ton of friends, you might have a huge network. Not a lot of those folks might actually be in the market to buy or sell a house, and that's something you're going to have to work through. When I got on real estate, everyone I knew was going to college, was starting their first job. No one even thought about buying a house. They were just thinking about moving into their first house. So I didn't have a database or a sphere of influence to lean on, and most likely you won't either. Now, that's not a deal killer. There are things you can do, internet marketing tactics, social media strategy that you can do to generate business, but just know that you're gonna come in at a slight disadvantage because the people you know most likely aren't gonna be ready to buy or sell a house right away. The second con or struggle for new real estate agents or young real estate agents is your friends and the people you're connected with are most likely going to have other priorities. When you start a real estate business at 18, most of your friends and the people you surround yourself with are going to be focused on other things. They're going to be focused on going to school or getting a job. They might be up late. They might have different priorities. They might be enjoying themselves. Well, if you're running a business, you have to have different priorities than them. You have to be client focused. You have to be focused on your business. And this is something you might struggle with. It's something when I first got my license, I struggled with every single day. My friends wanted to stay up late and have fun, and I had to go to bed because I needed to get up the next morning and work on my business. One of the cons is not a lot of people are gonna be doing what you're gonna be doing. That's a great thing, walking the path less traveled. It's not gonna come without its own hardship. Just something to think about. If you're thinking about getting your license, think about your current situation. Where are you at? What does that look like? Do you have roommates? What do they do? What are their habits? Ultimately, those things are gonna rub off on you unless you stop them, right? Unless you kind of put it into them, unless you set up some boundaries and say, hey, this is what I'm gonna focus on. I'm gonna focus on my business. I'm gonna need to be at bed at this time. I need to wake up at this time, and I need to do X, Y, and Z. So just understand that when you get your license at a young age, your friends and the people you're surrounded with are gonna have other priorities, and that might be something you struggle with. The third struggle for brand new real estate agents or brand new young real estate agents is the simple fact that others might doubt you. You're gonna have probably some people who don't love your decision to go the path of starting your own business, to go down the path of selling real estate. That's okay. People don't always like people who make different decisions than them. It makes them feel uncomfortable. Maybe some of them wish they chose or are choosing what you choose, but they didn't. And so they might express some doubt, but you have to overcome those. You have to stick with your plan. If you believe in something and you believe this is the path for you, stick to it, do it, execute on it, believe in it, and don't worry about what those other people say. But just know that those people might be around. They might be people you trust the most or love you the most. There were people in my family who, when I decided to go into real estate full time and to drop out of college, they told me they thought it was a bad idea. Now, in hindsight, 10 plus years later, they admit that I was right? I did what I wanted to do. I followed my heart, but it wasn't easy in the time. When the people you know the most and the people you trust the most express doubt in the decisions you make, it can be tough. You have to have that conviction and you have to stick with it, and you have to know what you want and be willing to run 1,000 miles per hour towards it without kind of paying too much mind to those other people. Again, it might be something you struggle with that all new agents or all young agents are going to struggle with, but just know that that's out there and that's available. The final struggle, the final con for getting your real estate license at a young age, 18, 19, 20, 21, is you might actually doubt yourself. In the previous one, we talked about others might doubt you. They might express that doubt. You might actually struggle with some self-esteem issues yourself. In real estate, when you're dealing with selling high price, high ticket items like a house, if you've never actually purchased a house yourself, some of that self-doubt might start to creep in. And when you meet with people, they might have some of that doubt. Wow, you're really young. Wow, how long have you been doing this? Is this something that you know a lot about? And some of that doubt might actually start to bubble up inside you. Not impossible to overcome, but it's something you're gonna have to think about and something you're gonna wanna think through and something you're gonna wanna prepare yourself for, is that you might struggle with self-esteem stuff. We talk a lot about in success books and in the kind of mainstream conversation right now, we're talking a lot about the imposter syndrome. Well, it can be really easy to have the imposter syndrome when you're 18 and you're trying to do something big like sell homes or sell real estate, especially if you never bought a house yourself. So just understanding that, hey, those feelings might bubble up. You have to press on, you have to move forward, you have to still make the phone calls, you have to still lead generate, you still have to call and meet with leads and meet with clients and be positive and be confident and know your stuff. But those doubts and those fears might bubble up. So that's something you struggle with. Make sure you have a great support system. Make sure you're on a great team or you have a great mentor or you have other people in your life that you can lean on, that they can kind of give you some guidance and, hey, you can be good at this. This is a path for you if you put the time in and you focus on it and you make it priority. Okay, final thoughts. If you're interested at all in getting your real estate license or pursuing this as a career, I would say go for it. Follow your heart, follow your gut. It's what I did. It worked out for me, but just know that it's not going to be easy. It's going to have its ups and it's going to have its downs. And at the end of the day, even though you're young, you're still going to have to be professional. You're going to have to treat your business like a business. You're going to have to take the highs with the lows. And you're gonna have to be an adult about it, right? You're gonna have to have professional conversations and dress nice and present yourself in a manner that makes sense. And if you're willing to do all of those things and you're willing to put yourself out there knowing that you're gonna get 95 no's for the 5 yeses, if you're willing to do all of those things, real estate can really be a fantastic career. Not only in real estate sales, but just know that when you get your real estate license, the whole real estate industry opens up to you and you start to realize that there are a million different career options within the real estate industry above and beyond just real estate sales. So if this is at all something you're interested in, continue to research it, continue to look into it, but also ultimately find a time and just commit to doing it. And I promise you, if you put the time in and you make it a priority and you stick with it for years and you have commitment and consistency, it can be worth it. So if you have questions and you're a young real estate agent or you're thinking about getting your real estate license at a young age, I'm happy to help. I love helping new young real estate agents because I did it when I was 18. So drop a comment below what questions you have. Follow After the License on Instagram and hit us up with a DM, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Again, real estate can be a really rewarding career if you stick with it and you have the commitment and you have the consistency and you're willing to put in the work. So good luck in your real estate adventure. Let me know if I can help, and we'll talk to you soon.